it is. All right, YouTube, back at it with another vlog, but today we have the skate park to ourselves for the first time in a while. So we are gonna do a how-to 360. I'm gonna do it on this and that, but it's the same exact thing. So hopefully I can impart my wisdom. Let's get it. All right, so to get started, you're definitely going to want to be able to 180 out of a bank or a quarter pipe or whatever. I think, for me at least, 360ing, spinning out of a bank is the easiest to start on, because when you spin off the lip, you don't really have to worry about your back tire catching on the lip like that, because there's a lot of clearance, whereas on a quarter pipe and stuff, when you spin out of it, you have to worry about getting your back tire over it. So I think it's easier to start on this, but whatever you're most comfortable with. So let's start with a little 180. You're gonna have to be able to 180 out for sure. And let's go. I cannot make it out because I'm just bad. Actually, you know what? I'll take it. There it is. All right, so I actually did start on the mountain bike. It's the same thing. It just, I feel more comfortable on that because I've been riding it for longer, so that's it. But yeah, absolutely starting a BMX bike. So once you got that 180 down, you're gonna at some point start over rotating it, especially when you're getting better at it. It is a very different trick than the 180, but once you got it down, it's really not that bad. The most important thing is to turn your head. So I think practicing this, even when you're 180ing or just over rotating that 180, is the most important thing. And make sure you're taking videos of yourself to see if you're actually turning your head, because sometimes you feel like you're doing it, but you're really not. And if you don't turn your head, you're not going to get that 3 around. So when you're coming out of the lip, carve a little bit. On a bank, I mean, some people carve like this, but that's not really a 360. I mean, you're already doing a 90-degree turn, so I don't really do that. I kind of just carve a little bit to get that pop. Once you're spinning, make sure you aggressively throw your head around. Spin your head like you're trying to spin it all the way around and look back here, like you're trying to be like an owl, like all the way like that. And make sure, take videos of yourself to see if you're actually doing it. So I'm gonna try to do that without doing a 360 right now. See what it looks like. Okay, so I landed like there, barely over rotated that 180, but that feeling of looking behind me, I knew that I could have landed that 360. I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels different than a 180, because a 180 you're just kind of doing it. 360 is more of an actual trick. Let me try that again, a little more rotated. All right, whip my head. It is kind of tricky because you don't want to start a habit of taking your foot off, but there's really, unless you're like crazy, I don't see that there's any other way to learn 360 besides taking your foot off. So I whip my head around, and once you get to here, you're going to be able to do it. So I'm coming around, I did the 180, and then an extra 90 degrees with that head turn. make sure you are turning your head. Most important part of this trick. Okay, so we're here. Some people, once they get here, they start rotating their bike, bringing their front end up, so when they get here, they land on their back tire and their momentum pushes you this way, so you land at 360. I did that on the dirt jumper when I landed it for the first time, but I wasn't even trying to. It was just because it was a little harder to get around. I think honestly worrying about that is harder because you have to go a little off axis to do it. So just keep working, get a little further, and then once you start getting here to the point where if you keep your feet on, you're not going to crash, that's when you force yourself to keep that foot on. So here we go. Anytime I find myself taking my foot off, getting unconfident, or not landing it basically, which every time I do that, I'm like, after 10 minutes of not landing it, I'm like, I'm not turning my head. Whole basis of the trick, turning your head. One last tip I'd say, I don't think this trick is step by step. I think you gotta teach yourself it to some extent, but one last tip. I like, when I was learning, to get off my bike right here and just visualize what I was gonna do. There's not many more tips and tricks that are gonna get you there. You just have to do it over and over and over and over and over again. So, hope this helped. We are gonna do a couple 360s and maybe some other tricks to end the video. And yeah, here we go.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.